Welcome to a space where 50 years of ancient mastery meets 21st century practicality. I'm Osman, the Blind Yogi, and I have spent 5 decades refining, testing, and simplifying the world's most powerful spiritual and wellness technologies. Today, I am giving away my entire life's work strategies that clients worldwide pay millions of dollars to access, completely free, no gatekeeping, no premium paywalls, and no required initiations. Just
Well,
pure, fast-acting transformation that you can self-initiate from the comfort of your home starting today.
wow. I mean, that is just an incredibly bold, almost uncompromising way to open a door.
Right.
It really sets a very specific standard right out of the gate.
Imagine hearing that promise as like your introduction to someone. It sounds exactly like the pitch of a Silicon Valley biohacker,
Right.
right? Like someone selling the ultimate, I don't know, shortcut to human optimization. But to be clear to you listening, those aren't my words. That statement actually belongs to the man who authored our source material today. A man who, interestingly enough, has been completely blind since 2023. That is the foundational philosophy of Osman, the Blind Yogi.
It's super fascinating.
So today, you and I are going to embark on a massive deep dive into his work, specifically the invisible energetic architecture of human connection.
Yeah, which is a huge topic.
It really is. Our mission is to unpack his highly specific, deeply complex teachings on intimacy. We're going to look at the unseen consequences of promiscuity from a strict yoga science perspective, and how our human biofields actually physically interact when we cross paths.
And to even begin to grasp the sheer weight of what we're about to explore, we really need to look closely at the biographical reality of Osman himself.
Yeah.
Because his perspective isn't just unique, it's structurally fascinating. As you mentioned, he has been permanently blind since May of 2023.
Right.
But because he possessed completely normal active eyesight for decades prior to that, he retains these incredibly vivid foundational visual memories.
Oh, right. So he has a full sensory frame of reference for the physical world.
Exactly. Which means when he starts describing these incredibly abstract, esoteric, energetic environments,
He isn't just like speaking in poetic metaphors.
no, not at all. He is using the precise visual vocabulary of someone who has actually known physical sight. He's translating that past physical knowledge to articulate what he is perceiving right now in the spiritual or energetic realm.
That makes so much sense because the human brain is a meaning-making machine. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So when his physical eyes stopped sending optical data, his brain didn't just shut that processing center down.
Right, according to his framework, because his third eye, his energetic perceptive center, is fully active. His brain translates those energetic frequencies into literal visual geometry.
Oh, wow.
So when he says he sees something energetic, his subjective experience is of literal sight. And I mean, his credentials to back up these claims are staggering.
They really are.
We're looking at a master-level energy healer. And his clinical specialization isn't just like general wellness. It is strictly in critical care, extreme recovery, and terminal illnesses.
Which is heavy. I mean, you don't just casually specialize in terminal illnesses without a framework that you believe is completely bulletproof.
You really don't. He operates using remote healing methods that he attributes to the principles of quantum mechanics and quantum entanglement,
Right.
basically manipulating and transferring vital energy across distances. And this isn't a new hobby for him. We're talking about someone who has maintained over 50 years of continuous, rigorous practice.
50 years. That's a lifetime.
It is. The material notes he achieves his mastery through a lifestyle that has demanded up to 18 hours of daily practice.
Wait, 18 hours a day.
Yeah. Think about that volume of time. He actually attained his first state of samadhi by the age of 19.
Okay, let's unpack this right here because we're already throwing around some massive concepts.
There we are.
Samadhi. For you listening, if you aren't, deep into yogic philosophy, samadhi is often translated as enlightenment, but it's more specific than that, isn't it?
It is. It's a profound, incredibly advanced state of meditative consciousness where the self basically dissolves into the object of meditation.
Achieving that at 19 is, well, it's like winning the Nobel Prize in physics while you're still a sophomore in college.
It's basically unheard of.
But what I really want to challenge here is this word scientific. When Osman's material talks about a strictly scientific approach to yoga and healing, what exactly does that mean in this context?
That's a really important question.
Because let's be real, usually we put spirituality in one box, like the mystical incense-burning box, and science in the clinical peer-reviewed box. He seems to utterly reject that separation.
He absolutely rejects it, and he uses the term scientific with deliberate precision. In Osman's paradigm, a 90% success rate in healing severe, even terminal illness isn't viewed as a mystical anomaly.
Right.
It's not a miracle handed down by a deity. It is seen as the natural, predictable, mechanical consequence of optimizing the human biofield.
A mechanical consequence. I really like that phrasing.
That's how he views it. The framework argues that modern lifestyles, our stress, our diets, our social dynamics, which we will get into heavily later,
Oh, we definitely will.
they systematically deplete our natural bodily energies. This depletion creates literal energetic vulnerabilities, like microscopic tears or blockages in the biofield, which then manifest biologically as severe illnesses.
So in this paradigm, highly structured yoga protocols are not prayers.
No, not at all. They are mechanical tools. They are the surgical instruments used to replenish this lost energy, systematically reversing ailments through focused practice.
It's basically treating the human energy field like a highly complex biological machine that has simply run out of battery, or maybe blown a few fuses, and he has the specific engineering schematics to rewire it.
That is exactly the logic. If a person strictly follows his structural protocols, their internal energy improves organically.
Right.
And he claims it can boost immune function by 90% naturally, without even needing his remote energy transfers.
That's wild. And this overarching offer, the system he provides, rests on a few core pillars that we need to define before we can understand his views on human connection.
Yeah, we have to lay the groundwork.
The first pillar is what he calls a global synthesis. This isn't just one rigid, isolated teaching from one specific monastery.
Right. It's an optimized formula forged from 50 years of deep research across the Far East, the Middle East, Western science, and ancient traditions.
Which proves it isn't culturally dependent. It's a human framework, not a geographical one.
Exactly. It's been tested with students from over 100 different countries.
And that leads directly to his second pillar, absolute simplification, taking these massive, historically terrifyingly complex spiritual milestones and deconstructing them so you can actually do them at home safely.
Safely being the operative word there.
Right.
For example, he teaches a specific breathwork method that isn't just taking deep breaths. It is based on incredibly precise mathematical ratios found in a text called the ancient Tirumandaram.
Wait, the Tirumandaram.
Yeah, written by sage Tirumula. Specifically, Osman focuses on verses 568 and 572.
Okay, I have to stop you because this is exactly where things can sound like jargon if we aren't careful.
Fair point.
For you listening, what is the Tirumandaram? And why are these two specific verses, 568 and 572, the cornerstone of this guy's entire breathwork empire?
It's a great question. The Tirumandaram is a Tamil poetic work from the 5th century, consisting of over 3,000 verses.
Wow, okay.
It is basically a master manual of Shaiva-Siddhanta philosophy and yoga, but it's notoriously cryptic. What Osman has done is extract verses 568 and 572, which deal specifically with pranayama, the regulation of breath.
Right.
But they don't just say breathe, they outline precise mathematical ratios for inhalation, retention, and exhalation. We're talking about a specific count for drawing air in, a much longer count for holding it to let the oxygen and prana permeate the cellular structure, and a controlled count for releasing it.
So he's treating a 5th century poem as a literal mathematical equation for lung capacity and energy retention.
Exactly. Osman has broken this ancient mathematics into an accessible 4-step progression that anyone can do at home. Because doing this correctly ties directly into the third pillar, energetic anatomy.
Right.
This breathwork isn't for relaxation. It's for the systematic cleansing of the 114 chakras and the 72,000 nadis.
Okay, we definitely need to pause and define these terms for you listening, because again, we don't want to just rattle off a list.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Chakras have been completely co-opted by pop culture. We see them on yoga mats and coffee mugs. But in this strictly scientific yogic framework, what is a chakra and what on earth are the 72,000 nadis?
In Osman's framework, a chakra is not just a glowing colored disc hovering over your body.
Yeah.
It is a highly active, energetic junction box.
A junction box.
Yeah, think of it as a localized substation where massive amounts of bioelectric and pranic energy pool and distribute out to your physical organs.
Okay.
There are 114 of these junction boxes scattered throughout the body. And the 72,000 nadis are the wiring. The word nadi literally translates to tube or flow.
So they aren't physical veins.
No, they're not physical veins or arteries that a surgeon could cut with a scalpel. They are ethereal, energetic channels through which prana, life force energy, travels.
So if the chakras are the electrical substations, the nadis are the 72,000 power lines running to every single cell in a massive grid.
That's a perfect analogy. And within those 72,000, there are three primary master lines.
Okay.
The Sushumna, which runs right up the center of the spine, and the Ida and Pingala, which spiral around it. The Ida is associated with the left side of the body, the parasympathetic nervous system, cooling, lunar energy.
In the Pingala.
The Pingala is the right side, the sympathetic nervous system, heating, solar energy. Most people's power grids are an absolute mess.
Oh, I'm sure.
Blocked tubes, short-circuiting chakras. The goal of Osman's structured Tirumandaram breathwork is to act like a high-pressure energetic flush, clearing the Ida and Pingala and opening the 114 chakras.
And the ultimate goal of cleaning out that plumbing, according to the text, is to allow practitioners to achieve a safe, self-generated Kundalini awakening, completely bypassing historical dangers.
Exactly.
Now, I want to play devil's advocate here. When I hear Kundalini awakening, I usually hear horror stories.
Oh, yeah.
People losing their minds, having massive psychotic breaks, physical tremors they can't control for years. What are the historical dangers he is claiming to bypass?
You're highlighting exactly why his method focuses on safety in mathematics. The historical danger of Kundalini, which is described as a massive dormant reservoir of potential energy coiled at the base of the spine,
Right.
is that if it awakens prematurely, before the 72,000 nadis are cleared, it's like pushing 10,000 volts of electricity through a household extension cord.
Oh, geez.
It fries the system. The psychotic breaks, the severe nervous system damage, the involuntary tremors. In yogic science, that is the literal result of high-voltage energy hitting a blockage in a nadi.
That sounds terrifying.
It is. Osman's 50-year synthesis claims to have perfected the preliminary wiring upgrades. You clean the tubes mathematically first, so when the energy rises, there is zero friction, zero danger.
Okay, so this brings us to the real core tension of this deep dive. We have just established this monumental internal architecture. We have 114 substations, 72,000 power lines, mathematical breath ratios regulating lunar and solar currents.
Right.
If our personal internal biofield is this incredibly complex and fragile, and it is the literal battery pack for our physical health and immunity, what happens when we step outside our house?
That is the big question.
Because we don't live in a vacuum. We interact, we talk, we go on dates, we fall in love. What happens when I crash my 72,080s into your 72,080s?
That question is exactly where Osman's framework shifts from internal personal maintenance to external interpersonal dynamics.
Okay.
And what is so profoundly paradigm shifting about his teachings is that he argues these human interactions are not just psychological. They aren't just emotional feelings in your head.
Right, they're physical events.
Exactly. They are structural, they are physical, energetic events that are visible if you have the perceptive tools, the open third eye, to see them.
Yeah, the source material goes incredibly deep into the mechanics of what he calls non-physical intimacy. Osman introduces this concept that falling in love, talking deeply late at night, or just really truly enjoying someone's company,
Even if you have never touched them.
right, even if you've never held their hand, it creates a literal structural psychic bond between two people.
The visual description he provides here is incredibly striking, especially coming from a man who used to see physically and now sees energetically.
What does he actually see?
He states that those with the psychic ability to see the spiritual world will notice a physical manifestation of this verbal or emotional connection. They will see a white thread of light extending directly from the navel region of one person, reaching out across space and connecting directly into the navel region of the other person.
Hold on. A literal glowing thread.
Yes, literally.
Are we talking about a metaphor for emotional attachment here? Or is he saying, if I had the right spiritual lenses on, I would literally be able to pluck this thing like a guitar string in the room?
He means it literally. Within this framework, energy is substance. Just because we can't see radio waves doesn't mean they aren't physically passing through our bodies right now carrying data.
Oh, wow.
Osman is saying that focused human attention and emotional resonance create an energetic filament. And to a blind man whose visual cortex is now processing energetic inputs, the brain assigns visual geometry to that frequency. It looks like a white thread.
And it connects at the navel, which actually makes a bizarre amount of sense when you think about our everyday universal language.
How so?
Well, across cultures, we say we have a gut feeling about someone, or if you really miss someone, you don't feel it in your elbow, you feel a literal pull or a hollow ache in your stomach.
That's true, yeah.
We use the phrase navel gazing. We talk about being courted to our mothers in the womb. Osman's framework is basically validating that biological sensation as an actual, observable, energetic reality. Your gut aches because someone is literally tugging on the thread.
It completely grounds the emotional metaphor in a literal energetic structure. And because this is an energetic structure made of prana and subtle frequencies, it isn't bound by the physical limitations of matter.
Right, so it doesn't care about geography.
Exactly. It doesn't care if you're in the same room or on opposite sides of the planet.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. I was thinking about this when reviewing the material. It's exactly like opening a Bluetooth pairing request on your phone.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Even if you don't actually send a photo or a file to the other device, the moment you open that menu, those two devices are constantly pinging each other, recognizing each other's unique addresses across the room. They establish a handshake.
Right.
But in Osm's scenario, the room isn't just your local coffee shop. The room is the entire planet.
That is a brilliant modern analogy, and it perfectly encapsulates the mechanics Osman describes. The material explicitly claims that this third-eye vision, the visibility of these threads, works through solid walls and across any physical distance,
Even international borders.
including international borders. Because quantum entanglement, which he referenced in his healing work, doesn't experience distance the way Newtonian physics does. Two entangled particles react simultaneously regardless of space.
That is wild.
Osman makes a very specific call-out to internet-based social interactions. You could be chatting with someone on the opposite side of the world on an encrypted app, keeping the relationship a complete, airtight secret from everyone in your physical daily life.
But energetically, you are broadcasting on loudspeakers.
Exactly. According to this spiritual framework, you cannot hide that connection from a fully open spiritual eye. The thread of white light is there, visible, tracing exactly who you are connected to, right through your smartphone screen and across the ocean to their navel.
It radically redefines the idea of a private message.
It really does. There is no privacy in the biofield.
But, okay, if every single time I have a deep conversation with a coworker or a stranger on a plane or someone online, I'm shooting out these Bluetooth threads of light, wouldn't we all just be massive, tangled balls of yarn?
You'd think so.
There has to be a built-in safety valve for these non-physical connections, right? Does the system clear the cache?
It does clear the cache, and this is where Osman introduces a very specific timeline. The 3-day dissipation rule.
Okay, 3 days.
The material highlights the temporary, fragile nature of these purely verbal or emotional bonds. The rule is mechanical and specific. If this connection is not fed, meaning if you cease communication, stop focusing your active attention on them and assuming there's been absolutely no physical intimacy.
Right, just talking.
Exactly. Then the white thread of light will dissipate after a 3-day period.
Why exactly 3 days? Why not 3 hours? Or a week?
While Osman doesn't give a cellular breakdown of the 3 days in this specific text, in broader yogic science, 72 hours is often considered the baseline metabolic cycle for the subtle body to process and flush residual external prana.
Okay, that makes sense.
Just like your physical body takes a certain number of hours to digest and eliminate a meal, your energetic body takes about 3 days to digest, break down, and dissolve an emotional filament that isn't being actively replenished with new attention. It basically starves, runs out of bioelectric energy, and dissolves back into the ambient field.
I want you listening to think about your own life for a second. Apply this math. Have you ever been up late, maybe playing a video game or on a forum, and you end up having an incredibly intense, deep online chat with someone you barely know?
Oh, I'm sure most people have.
You talk about your childhoods, your fears. In that moment, you feel totally enmeshed with them. You feel a high.
Yeah.
But you also feel a little drained the next day. And then for whatever reason, the conversation just stops.
You log off.
Yeah, they log off. A day goes by, you're wondering about them. 2 days, you're still a bit attached. But after a few days go by, suddenly you feel completely detached. You almost look back and wonder, why did I care so much about a stranger on a Tuesday night?
Right.
This yogic framework is providing a literal structural explanation for that exact psychological arc. The thread ran out of juice, the connection dissolved, you are experiencing the energetic cache clearing itself.
It makes perfect sense of our modern digital exhaustion. But this raises a monumentally important question.
It's that.
If a simple conversation, a mere exchange of text messages or spoken words, is structurally powerful enough to create a thread of light that takes 3 full days of absolute silence to break down,
What is the energetic cost of crossing the line into actual physical intimacy?
oh,
What happens when the bodies actually touch?
That is where this deep dive takes a very intense, very permanent turn. Because the moment sexual contact happens and the material is completely unambiguous here, it says even just a single encounter, a single momentary one-night stand.
Yeah, just once. That fragile, easily dissolved white thread undergoes a massive, catastrophic transformation. It solidifies. It goes from a thread into a thick, brilliant white rope of light connecting navel to navel.
It is a profound structural upgrade to the connection.
Mhm.
You are no longer just pinging a Bluetooth device. You have hardwired the two main frames together.
It goes from a fragile piece of string to pouring literal, energetic concrete. Once it sets, you are tethered. You absolutely cannot just ignore it for 3 days, ignore their text, and hope it evaporates.
You certainly cannot. Osman analyzes the permanence of this bond with a very specific, totally non-negotiable timeline. Once that physical intimacy occurs, that thick, brilliant white rope of light sustains for exactly 12 years.
12 years from
Right.
one single encounter. That is a staggering, almost terrifying claim. What is the logic behind 12 years? Is this just, like, arbitrary?
It's not arbitrary at all within the broader context of Eastern sciences and biology. In yogic science, astrology, and even certain cellular biology frameworks, a 12-year cycle, often called a mandal or a solar cycle, represents a complete revolution of human biorhythms.
The complete revolution.
Yes, it is believed to be the exact amount of time it takes for every single cell in the human body to completely regenerate and for the deepest energetic imprints residing in the root and sacral chakras to be entirely overwritten.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So when you engage in physical intimacy, you aren't just sharing a moment, you are fundamentally altering the energetic blueprint of your physical cells. It takes a full 12-year cellular turnover to purge that specific energetic signature from your marrow.
So you are physically carrying their energetic ghost in your cells for over a decade.
Exactly.
But let's look at the anatomy of this 12-year timeline. The rope doesn't just stay at maximum blazing strength for 11 years and 364 days and then suddenly snap the next morning when your alarm goes off, right?
No, and Osman provides a critical nuance about how this fade actually functions. The anatomy of the fade is gradual. Think of it like radioactive decay.
Exactly, like nuclear half-life.
Precisely. It has a half-life. It slowly becomes weaker and weaker over time as the cellular and energetic turnover happens.
Right.
But it only completely definitively breaks off by the end of that 12th year.
All right.
And this is the most crucial caveat in the entire framework. The 12-year decay only happens provided there is absolutely zero intimacy or connection with that person during that entire decade-plus span.
Zero.
If you sleep with them once on year 5, the 12-year clock instantly resets to 0. The concrete is repoured.
So what does this all mean for someone's day-to-day emotional state? Let's say it's year 3 of the 12-year rope.
Okay.
The source mentions that you might still randomly pine for this person out of nowhere, or conversely, you might fiercely and inexplicably hate them. You wake up angry at them. Is that our own genuine self-generated emotion? Is that just basic psychology, or is that the rope physically pulling at our navel?
If we rigorously apply Osman's framework, it is the rope. It is physical data transfer. The life force energy of the other person is still flowing through that navel connection into your biofield.
Wow.
The text implies that depending on the emotional state of the other person, and crucially, all of their unresolved issues, it dictates your peace of mind long after they are physically gone from your life.
That's intense.
If the person you slept with 3 years ago suddenly loses their job, goes through a terrible breakup, and falls into a deep depression, that heavy, turbulent frequency is transmitting through the rope directly into your energetic junction boxes.
So your sudden bout of unexplained anxiety or that weird random longing for them on a Tuesday afternoon, it might not be your emotion at all.
Right.
It is literally their data coming through the wire and processing in your brain as your own feeling. You are experiencing energetic contamination.
Which introduces arguably the most startling, mind-bending concept from this entire deep dive, the energetic pyramid scheme.
Oh, this part is crazy.
Because unless you both only ever sleep with each other, it's never just you and the one other person, is it?
Not usually, no.
If this rope is a physical conduit for data, we have to look at the network effect of promiscuity.
This is where the mathematical reality of this yogic science becomes quite sobering, almost paralyzing, honestly. The source material walks through a very simple, conservative mathematical example to prove a massive point.
Let's hear it.
Let's say you have 3 intimate encounters in your life. Just 3. And let's assume each of those three partners also had three previous encounters. You are not just connected to your three partners.
You're connected through them.
Exactly. The naval ropes are conductive. You are connected through your partners to their previous partners, and they are connected through you to your previous partners, and through those partners to their partners.
Osman literally uses the phrase pyramid scheme.
I want to use another analogy here because this is so wild. It's like being forced into a psychic group chat that you never asked to join, you don't know anyone's number, and you absolutely cannot mute the notifications.
Oh, that's so stressful to even think about.
Or from a computing perspective, it's like having way too many browser tabs open simultaneously. Even if you aren't actively looking at the tabs, they're eating up your computer's RAM in the background. Eventually, the whole system lags, the fan turns on, and the computer crashes.
That RAM analogy is perfect. What's fascinating here is how Osman explains the psychological impact of that overloaded network.
Yeah, how does that feel?
He asserts that the mindset, the psychology, the deep-seated stress, and the mixed-up, chaotic thoughts of all these extended, invisible nodes in the network start permeating into you.
Okay.
It becomes a massive, jumbled cocktail of mental static. Not just your thoughts, but the thoughts of your partner, mixed with the jealousy of your partner's ex, mixed with the trauma of that ex's previous partner. It grows exponentially in levels.
But wait, I have to challenge this based on sheer modern reality. The source itself acknowledges that today, some people have 50-plus encounters. It's not uncommon in hookup culture.
Yeah, it's very common.
If this literal pyramid scheme is real and the data is flowing through all these ropes, how does a person even physically function with a literal stadium of people connected to their navel? How are they walking down the street and ordering coffee while constantly transmitting and receiving the trauma of 1,000 strangers?
The source provides a stark warning about exactly that modern scenario. Osman states categorically that if you connect with someone whose mind is mixed up, your mind will become mixed up.
Okay.
You will be actively influenced toward losing your peace of mind. Now, he does note a vital principle of dilution. The connection gets lighter, and the signal gets weaker as it goes further up the pyramid.
Okay, so there's some drop-off.
Yes. The energetic trauma of your partner's partner's partner is significantly fainter than the energy of your direct partner. However, the sheer volume of connections in a highly promiscuous web overrides the dilution.
Because there's so many.
Exactly. Even if a signal is faint, if you have 500 faint, chaotic signals playing through your biofield at once, it becomes a deafening static.
It's the death by 1,000 paper cuts, but energetically.
Yes. They might be able to order coffee and function in society, but Osman would argue they have zero true peace of mind. They suffer from unexplained chronic fatigue, sudden depression, neuroses. Wow. And we connect this back to his clinical specialization that severe terminal illness is caused by the depletion of the biofield. Then this static isn't just annoying, it is draining the battery.
This completely reframes how we look at modern socializing. I want you listening to really think about the modern dating landscape for a second. The swiping apps, the hookup culture, the pervasive idea that casual physical intimacy is just a harmless, fun way to explore your options and find yourself.
We're told it's empowering.
Exactly. But under this highly specific mechanical yogic framework, that freedom to explore is actually a systematic, catastrophic entanglement of your biofield with complete strangers.
It's an energetic hazard.
You are essentially downloading the unresolved trauma, the anxieties, and the energetic blockages of people you haven't even met. Every time you swipe and hook up, you are giving an unknown entity administrative access to your 114 chakras.
That is precisely the gravity of Osman's warning. Promiscuity is presented here not as a moral failing. He isn't preaching from a pulpit about sin.
No, he's very pragmatic.
He is speaking as an energetic mechanic. Promiscuity is a severe energetic hazard. It is a rapid 12-year drain on the very primal energy reserves you need for physical health, immune response, and mental clarity. It's an issue of bioelectric bandwidth.
Okay, so if the modern approach to casual dating creates this massive, stressful, energetic web, this 12-year pyramid scheme of shared anxiety that drains our immune systems, how does this yogic science suggest we actually navigate relationships and family?
Hey, what's the alternative?
If we are biologically driven to connect, what is the optimized scientific solution in Osman's eyes?
The prescription provided by Osman is a complete, almost jarring contrast to the pyramid scheme we just mapped out. His framework advocates for maintaining strict celibacy until one is truly ready for marriage and family.
Which he generally places when?
He generally places it in young adult life, specifically the early to mid-20s. From there, The singular ideal is pursuing an exclusive, single-partner relationship.
And he puts a huge emphasis on not just finding someone loyal, but actively demanding it, right? It's a defensive strategy.
Yes, he explicitly instructs the practitioner to practice absolute loyalty and to demand equal loyalty from their partner. Because if your partner isn't loyal, they are opening new tabs, plugging new ropes into your shared network, and funneling that static directly into you.
Furthermore, he makes a very specific point to warn against the modern concept of open relationships.
Which are becoming increasingly popular and normalized.
True, but within this strict yoga science perspective, an open relationship is highly detrimental because you are actively, intentionally, and continuously creating and expanding those energetic webs while simultaneously trying to maintain a primary foundational bond.
Yeah, that makes sense based on his rules.
You are willingly inviting the static of multiple external biofields right into the foundation of your own home. You can never achieve the energetic consolidation required for deep spiritual or physical health if you are constantly bleeding energy into a polyamorous web.
Now, in making this aggressive argument for early commitment and total exclusivity, the source text introduces some very specific and, frankly, controversial medical claims regarding age, biology, and pregnancy.
Yeah, we need to pause here. Osman makes some incredibly intense claims about biology and age. Just to be completely clear between us and you listening, we are not medical doctors.
Not at all.
We are exploring the text. We are not endorsing these claims as peer-reviewed medical fact, nor are we bringing modern ethics into this. But to truly understand Osman's mechanical framework, we have to look at how he views the human biological timeline in conjunction with the energetic one.
The crucial distinction. And we must look at his exact logic. The argument Osman unpacks is based on the biological reality that a woman is born with all of her eggs.
Okay.
As she ages chronologically, those eggs age as well. The material claims that after age 25, the risk of a fetus developing illnesses, chronic conditions, or debilitating conditions, he specifically mentions Down syndrome, begins to increase due to the aging of this biological material.
And the text goes even further, right? Claiming that ages 35 to 40 and over are considered highly dangerous for having children within his specific framework.
Yes, that is his stated parameter. If we connect this to the bigger picture of what we've been discussing, we can analyze how Osman is using this concept of a ticking biological clock to reinforce the ultimate yogic ideal. His logic is that the ideal, optimal time for family creation is below age 25, when the biological material is, in his words, young and pristine.
Yeah.
And notice how perfectly this aligns with the yogic recommendation to remain celibate until the early 20s.
The timelines match up perfectly.
Exactly. You conserve all your life force during your youth, you avoid the 12-year energetic pyramid schemes, and then you immediately form a singular, loyal bond at peak biological vitality.
Okay, I see the logic.
The biological timeline and the energetic timeline are presented as being entirely in sync. The biofield needs absolute, unscattered concentration of energy to create healthy life.
Looking at it strictly through Osman's framework, it becomes obvious that the ultimate goal here, the reason for the Tirumandaram breathwork, the chakra flushes, the celibacy, the 12-year rope warnings, it is the absolute militant preservation of vital energy for one specific purpose. It's an economy of energy.
I would wholeheartedly affirm that. The overarching theme of every single concept we've unpacked today is the conservation, protection, and optimization of the human biofield.
Because giving it away is so costly.
Yes. Promiscuity scatters your energy across a 12-year pyramid scheme. You literally bleed vital force out into a network of strangers, leaving your own immune system compromised.
And conversely,
loyalty, celibacy, and early commitment consolidate that energy. They keep the biofield totally intact, which, according to Osman, leads to healthy offspring, disease resistance, and preserves your own personal peace of mind against the static of the world.
it is a totally different way of calculating the cost of a night out. It completely changes the math. It's not just about, like, will I be tired at work tomorrow, or will I regret this text in the morning?
Oh, it's way bigger.
It's, do I want to be physically processing the stranger's anxiety and energetic blockages 12 years from now?
And more importantly, do I have the vital energetic reserves to spare? Because returning to his foundational clinical focus, that exact same energy that you're giving away through that brilliant white rope is the exact same energy your body needs to fight off terminal illness.
Which brings us to an incredible summary of everything we've covered today. We have taken a massive journey through Osman's source material.
We really have.
We started with the foundational mechanical claim of a 90% success rate in healing terminal illness through strict biofield optimization and quantum entanglement. We broke down the 114 chakras and the 72,000 nadis and how the ancient mathematical breathwork of the Tirumandaram cleanses that internal wiring.
Right.
We looked at how non-physical intimacy, just a deep, resonant conversation, spins a literal white thread of light that acts like an energetic Bluetooth pairing, taking 3 full days of silence to metabolize and dissolve.
We explored the sheer structural gravity of physical intimacy, how a single encounter transforms that fragile thread into a brilliant white rope, pouring energetic concrete that anchors you to another person's cellular structure for a grueling 12-year cycle of slow, radioactive decay.
We mapped out the psychic pyramid scheme, the sobering reality that you aren't just sleeping with one person, you are hardwiring yourself to the mental state, the trauma, and the energetic static of your partner's past partners, creating an invisible, draining web of shared stress.
Yeah, that part is wild.
And finally, we looked at the yogic push for early, exclusive loyalty and the biological clock as the ultimate defense mechanism against this catastrophic energetic drain.
It's a remarkably cohesive, internally consistent, if, highly challenging system of thought.
It really is. It challenges almost every modern norm we have. And whether you are listening today to prep for a meeting on fringe wellness trends, you're catching up on alternative spiritual fields, or you are just fiercely curious about different ways to view human behavior, this framework offers a radically different lens through which to view your everyday interactions.
It really does. It takes the invisible and makes it incredibly structurally visible.
But as we close, it does leave us with one final synthesized thought to mull over. A loophole, perhaps. We learned that the energetic rope of intimacy takes exactly 12 years to slowly weaken and break, simply by ignoring it and allowing cellular regeneration to happen naturally.
Right.
But earlier, we established that Osman is a master bioenergy healer who uses quantum entanglement and highly structured yoga protocols, specifically the mathematical Tirumandaram breathwork, to rapidly optimize the biofield, clear the nadis, and reverse severe established illness.
I see where you're going with this.
So the question remains, are we entirely helplessly at the mercy of the 12-year clock? Or could the very breathwork and intense chakra cleansing techniques he teaches be used as a targeted tool to consciously sever those ropes and reclaim our bioenergy on our own terms long before the decade is up?
Oh, wow. If you can mathematically flush a terminal illness out of a nadi, can you flush out an X?
That is an incredible question to leave on. Can you mathematically hack the 12-year rope? Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take a moment today to explore how your own invisible connections, your own open browser tabs might be shaping your daily reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it turns out 50 years of ancient mastery really does have some heavy, unseen implications for 21st century practicality. Until next time.